Hello everyone, my name is Umu. I am ReacttotheK's channel creator and welcome to this interview. Before we jump in, I'd like to say thank you to Staircase Digital. Basically, we had a lot of different locations set up for this film session, but at the very last minute, we lost the place that we thought we were gonna film at, but thanks to Staircase Digital, we were able to not film this interview on the streets. Basically what they are is they're a marketing firm that helps startups get really big, and I'll put more information about them in the description below. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the interview. So this amazing songwriter that I have with me today has co-written so many amazing songs. And just to name a few, he's co-written SuperM's Dropping, NCT's Superhuman, Touch, WayV's Moonwalk, Love Talk, EXO's Tempo, Obsession, Lucky One, SHINee's Married to the Music and View, FX's Four Walls, Monster X's Magnetic, and so many more. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, Umu.
Please introduce yourself. Tell us how you got into music.
Okay. So my name's Adrian McKinnon, singer, songwriter, producer. I've been making music pretty much all my life. I started in 2007-ish, making music for myself as an artist. Signed a deal with Warner Brothers, came down here in 2011, and started my songwriting career around 2014. So yeah, and there's a whole lot of adventure in the middle of all that, but that's pretty much the quick answer.
Did you grow up in a musical family? Did you were the one of the people whose mothers made you play piano at age 4, or?
So no, I didn't actually get any official lessons or anything like that, but I did grow up in a musical home. My father is a pretty awesome gospel singer, so I grew up listening to a lot of gospel music, R&B, a lot of funk, like Ohio Players and like Earth, Wind and Fire. So just that, that sort of environment I grew up in. But I really became interested in keyboards and things like that. So I'd get those for Christmas every other year, and I'd just be on my keyboard playing like jingles that I hear on television on like a little Casio or something like that. And yeah, I think I sort of got more and more interested in the idea of making my own music once I figured out how to do that on my dad's karaoke machine. I used to do those double cassette situations where I'd record myself on one tape, and then I'd put it over into the playback tape and record myself doing harmonies on the other tape, because that's all we really had the money for at the time. So I do like all these layers, but over time when you copy, you get all this static and it started getting messier and messier. But I had a good time with it.
So all your musical knowledge, is it self-taught, or did you end up going to college and study producing there? Or?
Right, so I ended up going to college in the year 2000, and I just dated myself. I ended up going to college and I studied fine arts. So I went into learning theory and all that stuff. I did some performance courses, and I learned a little bit about engineering and things like that. And I didn't get, I didn't graduate because I got a deal around that same time. And so I started to pursue that. Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
But so after moving down to LA, what brought to your attention K-pop?
So I didn't really know much about K-pop at all. When I first came down here, I was sort of focused on doing my own thing as an artist first and foremost. And things started getting a little bit challenging because it's expensive to live in LA. So I got to a point where, yeah, it's very expensive to live in LA. But I got to a point where I was like, dang, we might have to leave. Like, we might have to get out of here. I got a phone call in the middle of the night from my A&R at the time, Victor Portillo, who's an amazing guy. He was out in Korea at the time during a camp with SM Entertainment. And he's like, yo, so I might have a song for you. That one of your songs might get placed. I was like, okay, where are you at? He's like, I'm in Korea. I was like, music in Korea? Okay. He's like, so it's a group called EXO. They're looking for like a holiday song. Do you think you'd be willing? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like right away. I don't know who this is. I don't know anything about EXO, but please just get me something, right? And so that ended up being 2014, December 2014, A Winter's Tale, I think it's called. And they did a really good job of doing that song. So that song was originally, the demo was called The Little Things. Yeah, and
like the little things in life.
Yeah, well, the little things in a relationship, like holding a door for somebody, or like giving them flowers, that kind of thing. It was one of those. It was like 7 years old at the time. It was an old song, but it worked, and they took it and they did a really good job with it. The following year, in 2015, I went into I went to Korea for the first time, and we did our first writing camp out there, and that's where we got View. That's where we got Married to the Music, and a couple others, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. I know that you also, since you're stationed in California, you often write songs here. What is the songwriting process when you're writing the top line and a track is sent to you?
Sometimes I'll be by myself working on something at home. I've got like a little setup at home, and I'll work on some music there. Sometimes I'll call up a close friend and co-writer and work with them in another location. So yeah, sometimes you'll get that sort of email back and forth. We'll submit it to SM, and they'll either say thanks, we'll go with it, or they'll give us some notes on what to change, and we just sort of keep it going like that.
After you write the top line and record your vocals, do you also have to mix the vocals? Do you add, patches and stuff on top?
I like to mix it. I like to do as good a job as possible. So there are times you could submit a song with sort of gibberish on top because all they're looking for is a melody, but it's hard as a creator to just give just that. Like for me, I want to give like a full-on concept, strong title. I want my harmonies to be where they need to be, and I want to mix it to where they can hear it, and then submit it.
Did you just say you create the title, or they send the title?
No, 9 times out of 10, we're making the concept and title.
Ah, yeah. Okay, because I have a follow-up question to that. When I was talking to Moonshine, they say that so either the K-pop label sends just a vague idea and then they write something based off that?
Yeah. So they'll give a vague idea. There are exceptions to that, like Lightsaber, for example. They knew they were going to do a promo with Disney on the release for episode 7. And so they're like, yo, the song's going to be called Lightsaber. And, so there was like, they'll give you this concrete, this is what it is. But that's rare. A lot of the times they'll get a track, at least I can only speak for myself. I'll get a situation where they'll send me a track and say, hey, there's something you can do with this. And then they'll give you some notes, like, please avoid, this many, too many harmonies because it's for this particular group, or try not to go above these particular notes. But we don't get that as much anymore. Yeah, it just varies, from song to song. But most of the time, you never want to stifle creativity either. So I think they're really mindful of that. And so they'll just let us go to town.
Right.
Yeah.
When the K-pop company doesn't give you a specific concept and you are sent a track, do the producers send you their concept in mind, or you just communicate back and forth with just developing that concept that they started with? How does that work when you come into creating the concept too?
You mean like when they send the production?
Yeah.
Most of the time I just take it and see what comes out. They'll give me a track that's near complete, not always complete. Sometimes skeletons are great to work on because you have more room to sort of do your thing. And then when you send it back, they'll do some amazing post-production. London Noise are really good at their post-production game. It's incredible. But yeah, a lot of times they'll send tracks that sound fully complete already, but you already know they're going to go in again on it. But yeah, so most of the time it's just, okay, let's see what happens, just kind of just listen to the universe or whatever you want to call it and see what it turns into.
Right.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen with Moonwalk. Someone said that it was moon themed and then you're able to.
No, Moonwalk was that concept was all me.
Oh, so you decided it was going to be moon based.
Yeah, that's just what it felt like. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't have the best memory, but I'm pretty sure that was just what it turned into. Yeah. It was just, I'm pretty sure it was just me.
So you're the original lyricist then?
Yes.
And because oftentimes when I'm looking at the credits, sometimes your name isn't there. How many times do your lyrics your lyrics and concept make the final run versus being written?
Well, lyrics is a tricky part to it because the songs aren't always like translated. Sometimes they're adapted. The aspects or the concept is adapted. Sometimes they'll just change the concept entirely because what we wrote in English, that concept might not necessarily translate very well out there. So I'm trying to think of examples. So Superhuman was basically for me, it was singing about how this woman in my life was like a superhuman to me. And then they go, we are all superhuman, just more that sort of collectivized sort of, aspect. So sort of things will change like that. And sometimes it's a complete turnover.
Right.
Like Four Walls. I mean, people heard the demo online, and that was about getting put in the friend zone, right?
Yeah.
That's not what the final song was about. So like, things will change from time to time. Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, moving on to my next question.
Yeah.
The top lines you write often have so many layers to them, and they end up creating dense and lush harmonies. Has there been any times that your vocals in the demo has been kept in the final track?
Next question.
So I take that as a maybe yes.
I don't know if that's okay to say or not. I really don't know.
Yeah, superhuman. 혼자가 변했던 내 모습이 우리 이렇게 나 원하는.
Yeah, because I sometimes see just how many different notes has been given to that top line, and with their crazy schedules, would they sit in the studio and just record, every single note when the notes already exist in the demo?
They work very hard.
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah, much respect. But yeah, I think for them to pull off sort of the crazy stuff that we do is pretty incredible in and of itself. Plus, they dance on top of everything else. Those guys go to town. So, little side story. Married to the Music. We got invited to like the secret shooting when they were doing the video.
Of the music video.
Yeah, they took us out to this like really like secluded location, a part of Korea I've never been to. I don't even know where it was, honestly.
Were you blindfolded, put in a car?
Might as well have been. I didn't know where we were, but I started seeing rolling hills and less buildings. I was like, where the heck are we going? And we ended up in this really dope looking facility. And there they were. First time I ever saw SHINee. All of them were there, and they were kind of in between shoots. There was a crane, there was the crew, and this dark room. And it was me and Tay Jasper was with me at the time. And Tay Jasper, by the way, another amazing songwriter. He's super dope. So we're in there, and they're like, "Hi, guys." We're like, "Hey, what's good?" We're just sitting there, just enjoying the scene. And these guys, they were dancing so well. Like, when you see it live, I don't know, like, I know they do really good with the camera work, but, like, when you see it live, there's something different about how they move. And so we're sitting there, and we're like, holy crap, like, these guys are great movers. And then they came out to greet us, and I was like, you guys are incredible dancers. It's like, oh, that was just, like, 45, 50%. Because we're, like, we're just doing, like, a little rehearsal, like, trying to get it right. And I was like, that was like half-ass? And they were like, yeah, we'll see, just wait. And then, like, they really go in the next time. I was like, those guys looked like, they move like robots almost. They're just incredible.
Yeah, speaking about, now that we're on the topic of Married to the Music, I just want to know everything about it.
Okay.
Like, because it was maybe like your 5th track released in Korea or something.
It was actually
second.
I think it was my third.
Third, okay.
Yeah, because we got the December 2014 in Winter's Tale, then View, and then Married to the Music was the one after that. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite moment of the song, favorite that you're most proud of? Were you surprised that the music video ended up turning out to be like losing lips and eyes and noses and stuff?
To me, that was actually the most K-poppy song that I did for the first time when I was out there, because the chord progressions all over, it was crazy.
So good.
Right? Like, it started out with, like, what's funny is, like, me and Zach, the other writer I was working with, we had sort of two melodic ideas, because you could sort of analyze the song one way, and then you can analyze it another way. So the melody he was doing sort of worked with that particular, how it sounded sonically, and then mine did, and we just kind of just meshed it together. And then when the chorus came, it's like this random sort of jump, and we're like, how do we just, it's a very abrupt sort of change in melody. And that was sort of my introduction to K-pop. They're like, no, this is good. I was like, are you sure? Like, maybe we can sort of like blend it a little better. Like, no, just leave it like this. I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, that was Married to the Music was like my first K-pop song. Yeah. Whereas View was like their first UK garage type track that was out there. I don't think they had anything like that before. At least that's what I was told.
Do you have a track that you had the most fun writing over, or one that was extra challenging?
You know, I don't know if I would say like more fun. I think every experience is like very joyous because it's really about discovery in the moment. Like, oh, that worked really well over this track. That's really cool. Oh, these harmonies worked really well just then. Yo, let's go with that. So there's like these little like goals along the way where you just feel sort of reinvigorated, like no coffee needed kind of situations. And they're all sort of unique to themselves. So it's hard to say like best sort of experience, but there are times when something will happen very quickly, and sometimes there'll be songs that'll happen like it'll take a little more time. But sort of in my experience now, I used to sort of associate quick and easy with good, and long and sort of like taking a longer task to be with bad, but like that's not the case at all. Now that I know, like Superhuman, for example, took me several sessions at home to where I really was able to digest what it was I wanted to do. In View, I did one take from, just for a top line, from the verse to the end of the chorus, and we kept about 95% of that.
Whoa.
So, but yeah, it sounds like, okay, that's dope. Like the more of that kind of stuff that happens, yes, that is a cool experience. But there's nothing wrong with being meticulous and sort of really getting detail. And obviously, like, it's a different level of complexity between View versus something like Superhuman. So it's just different, you know?
Right. But going off, has any track been hard to write over? For example, was Obsession and Jopping written in a camp, or were those tracks that were sent to you?
Both of those songs were off-site. They weren't at SM.
How did you know which section was the pre-chorus and chorus?
Or
was it immediate for you?
To be honest, Obsession took a little more analysis.
Yeah.
Whereas Jopping, I didn't spearhead that one. That one was actually Tay Jasper, again, an amazing songwriter. He and some of his friends actually had most of that ready to go. They submitted that to SM. SM was like, hey, can you add some of your stuff on this?
Did you do the bridge?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the harmonies there. I did sort of all the melodic parts to the verses, and they crushed the raps. Yeah, they really did. And so, yeah, that was sort of like a back and forth kind of scenario. But Obsession was kind of like that too. It was just a little bit different, but I didn't start that one out either. It was just, but that one definitely took a little more time to analyze. I was like, what is happening here? This is not, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. With K-pop, with a lot of songs, you expect the chorus to, right?
It's the chorus.
Yeah, here comes the chorus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But with Obsession, I was like, wait, is the chorus happening right now? What's going on?
But that's really interesting because it's kind of a testament to the evolution of K-pop. Because with Western music, we sort of have foregone that idea. I mean, it's still there, like the really lifted sort of chorus, but there are some times when you go down, like Billie Eilish's Bad Guy. It's not really, ta-da, it's not that sort of chorus. It just kind of, it chills. And it's more about that vibe. And you still know it's a chorus somehow. So there's like a level of finesse with that. K-pop is really dope in that, like, here it comes, like that color and that vibrancy, that's dope too. So it's just different weapons.
Yeah. Have you ever been confused? So you've had to message SM or the track makers like, oh, what's supposed to happen here? Or you just analyze it until you understand?
Yeah. What's funny is, like, I know I use the word analysis, but like, I try not to too much. I try to like throw that out and just be like, what does it feel like it's going into? Sometimes I don't sort of designate what that section is. It feels like a pre-chorus. My favorite section, to be honest, is usually the pre-chorus because I like setting up for a chorus. But sometimes if I don't know what it is, I go, you know what, screw it. What's going to sound good over this? Just do it and then see what happens. Yeah. And then sometimes you'll get notes to change it, and other times it's like that's it. Because it's not really about, it's really about just listening. I think songwriting is like mostly listening to what the song is telling you, listening to what kind of colors what you're feeling like, what kind of emotion is coming from the track. So yeah, but yeah, choruses are a funny thing these days. Yeah.
More and more often. I'm looking forward to more of this. Kind of going off this last question, Claire Abbott from Mewtwo wonders, is there any particular section of a song that you are most proud of? So like a specific section from a song you've written.
I'm really partial to the section of Superhuman, which was heavily inspired by TAK and One Take's production. Because when you hear the track, when it first came in, I was doing the chorus and I was like, okay, this is definitely like a double chorus section. But they hit me with this. I was like, oh, we gotta do something there.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, okay. And then I started thinking about stuff that I was inspired by in the past. Shaka Khan has a song, gosh, what's the song called? It's like, I feel for you, think I love you. That song? And I was like, oh, that kind of feels like a moment. And I was like, if you want to feel it, say yeah, yeah. And I was like, let's try that. It was one of those moments too where I didn't know what to do and I was just singing along, and then it came. And then I was like, this is good. Superhuman. It's almost like he knew what the title was before I even.
Yeah,
because he didn't have any of the lyrics or anything. It just worked. So it was one of those magical moments. So yeah, definitely a proud moment there. Not just the harmonies themselves, but just how it all sort of came together. Yeah.
And then any ones that you want to go back and fix? Any moments?
No, just gotta keep looking forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like those in the back of your mind, but a lot of times you really want to like. A lot of times I really do my best to make it sound as best as I can before I send it out. And that's not. It doesn't always work out that way, but you have to kind of go, you know, this is what it is. It happened the way it did because it did.
Does it ever motivate you to like try something else in like a future release?
Absolutely, yeah. Even in terms of engineering, I might buy a new plugin to sort of like strengthen the preamp or sort of EQ it a little differently because maybe the demo didn't come across the way I wanted it to. So I really get in my head more about the mix than I do about what I've done. Because I really want it to be presented well. And that's why I don't really do gibberish. I really get like, I'll dig in on concept. Like I try not to do 100% heavy focus on lyrics because most of the time it's gonna get changed anyway, but it has to make sense to me before it goes out. Right. So yeah, I kind of maybe do more than I probably should.
How does the gibberish work out? Is it if for example the Superhuman, would you go like say yeah superhuman? Like did you have just like blah, 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 or do you go like ooooos or doos? Like what's your gibberish?
Oh, my gibberish?
What's your gibberish?
You know what's funny? I've been accused of sounding Korean when I do my gibberish. But yeah, it's just a bunch of just random sort of just vowels and consonants, and then sometimes it'll sound like a word, and then you'll be inspired to go, oh, let's chew on that idea a little bit. And then other times it'll be the idea will come before you even start top lining.
Cool.
So yeah.
What do you think makes a good K-pop song?
Oh gosh.